Benissimo, la diagnosi, the diagnosis of the commedia. La commedia è morta, la commedia morirà, ma la commedia è nata.
What?
Sì. Lo dice perfettamente questo libro, perché? Because I'm the doctor, and the doctor says that the comedy, the comedy is sick. The comedy is
Sick? È malata?
Sì.
La commedia dell'arte è malata?
Sì, è malata. La commedia è in quarantena. La commedia morirà. La commedia non sopravviverà. She doesn't survive. Yeah. Because I'm the doctor, I know everything. And she will survive. I will survive.
Ma cosa state a dire, dottore? What are you saying, dottor Balanzone? You are just a Balanzone. Because I know for sure that the commedia is very much alive. Molto viva e vegeta.
Viva e vegeta? Is alive?
Viva e vegeta, sì, viva e vegeta. In fact, if you had seen all the episodes of La Commedia in Quarantena live with Pazzi Lazzi, you would know that the Commedia dell'Arte is alive, because we had so many wonderful guests. Do you remember them all?
Oh, ma certo, ma sì, il primo, il primo come si chiama? Il primo, io lo so.
Abbiamo avuto numero 1, first episode, From Roma, tradire e fare teatro. Ciao Federico!
Federico Moschetti.
Ciao Federico. And then we had in Bologna, we had Fraternal Compagnia. Remember Fraternal Compagnia with Massimo Machiavelli. Ciao Massimo!
Il nostro amico Massimo Machiavelli.
And then we had from the UK, England, Ollie Crick. Ciao Ollie. And then we had Connecticut, USA, Mace Perlman.
Mace Perlman. Ciao Mace.
And then we went traveling back to the UK, and we went to see Chiara Danna. Ciao Chiara. And then we went back to Italy. And we chatted with
I know. I don't remember.
Claudia Contin Arlecchino.
Ciao Claudia Contin.
And then we drove our horse down south back to Rome to see Marco Luli. Ciao Marco.
Marco Luli.
And then we went to
many guests.
To the USA to see Sebastiani. Ciao Sebastiani. From Boston. And then we went to Paris, en France.
Pas français, mais qu'est-ce que les guests?
To trover Carlo Boso dell'Académie internationale du théâtre.
Il maestro Carlo Boso. Ciao
Carlo. And then we went on the same day, at the same time, to New York and Venice to see Maria De Cotis and mask maker Alice Bertolini. Delle belle ragazze, Alice e Maria.
Ma anche brave ragazze. Sì.
Tanto brave e simpatiche. And then we went back to England and Italy at the same time. And we saw Didi Hopkins and Cristina Coltelli. Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao Didi. Thank you.
And then we went back to Italy and we hosted Mario Pirovano, the great interpreter of Dario Fo.
Grande da Mario. Ciao Mario, grazie.
Ciao Mario, un bacio a te. And then you know where we went, Dottor Balanzone?
I know everything.
Of course, we went to Sao Paulo, Brazil. Brazil.
America Latina.
And because we went to see the wonderful theater company Centro de Pesquisa da Máscara.
Ciao Fernando.
Ciao Fernando. And then we went back to
Europe.
back. We went for the first time to Tel Aviv, Israel, and we chatted with Scapino Theater Company. Ciao, amici di Scapino.
Ciao.
And then, last but not least, we visited Spain.
Yeah.
Con il manifesto poetico. Yeah.
Ciao Carlos.
Ciao Carlos and Paige. Ciao.
Ciao.
So I want to say to all these people, that if anybody of this audience missed one of these wonderful episodes, they can watch them again on our Pazzi Lazzi website.
Yeah. Ma quindi
here you see the link.
Quindi la diagnosi che la diagnosis of the Commedia in Quarantena, we will survive.
The Commedia will survive, and today we have another proof that the Commedia is very, very, very much alive, because we have two wonderful guests. We are going back to the States, to Washington D.C, and we have Francesca Chilcote, and Kathryn Zoerb, and they are from the faction of fools.
Thank you, Francesca. Thank you, Kathryn.
Oh, Madonna!
Woo! What a trip!
I didn't know it was gonna take me that long.
Yeah,
beautiful. I really smile.
Thank you to be here at the last episode of the Commedia in Quarantena.
Yeah, so bear with me. I wanted to just give all our gratitude to our past guests, because all of us have been just fantastic, amazing, really kind to be and to chat with some weirdos, un po' di gente strana come me ed Emanuele. E vedo che c'è Giovanni Saraceni che ci segue. Ciao Giovanni. Sì, è l'ultima, ma for this season we don't know what's gonna happen.
We are very on this season. A friend asked us if we have a season second, but actually our Facebook Live was called La Commedia in Quarantena. So we hope there will be another quarantine.
No, we hope not.
So, because we discovered that the Commedia dell'Arte, despite the diagnosis of the fake doctor, the Commedia is alive. Like the Frankenstein Junior is alive. So, and thank you, Francesca and Kathryn, Francesca Chilcote and Kathryn Zoerb. Did I pronounce very well your last name? Okay.
Perfect.
From the faction of fools. So, Francesca.
C'è un telefonino.
Francesca, this was the music of the overture.
Yes.
Francesca, you graduated in theater and music from University of Pittsburgh, and you studied Commedia dell'Arte. Oh, Kathryn, sorry.
Yes.
Oh no, eccolo il dottor Balanzone.
Don't ask me to do music.
The first half of the last episode. Kathryn in Pittsburgh, and you studied Commedia dell'Arte with Maestro Antonio Fava in Reggio Emilia, correct?
Yes.
And you studied physical theater also and Commedia dell'Arte at the Accademia dell'Arte in Arezzo. Francesca, you had an MFA at physical theater also on the from the Accademia dell'Arte in Arezzo, and you studied theater at the College of William and Mary. And you work in theater education also, and we will talk about later about your fabulous company. So, first question: how did you start to be interested in theater, and in particularly in Commedia dell'Arte and physical theater? If you have an anecdote before your studies, please, Kathryn.
Okay, I'll go first. Usually I'm last with the Zoerb, so I'll go first.
But we are all upside down, all reversed. So go ahead.
So when my first exposure to Commedia dell'Arte was studying abroad in college at Accademia dell'Arte. And I knew I wanted to study abroad. My undergraduate was very well-rounded. I'm so thankful for that now. I got to do a little bit of everything, which prepared me for the world. But I wanted to study abroad somewhere that was more intense and more of a conservatory and really specific. So I discovered Accademia dell'Arte. I didn't know anything about anything. I just knew it was totally different. And I wanted to give it a try. And one of my friends had gone and said it was wonderful, Patrick Berger. And he said, yeah, you need to go. And I said, okay, I'll go. I'll try it. And spending a semester there changed completely how I performed, how I thought about things, and how I thought about working with other people, because Americans were all up here and we forget about all of this. So it changed everything, and I was an addict afterward, and it's all I wanted to study. And how Commedia dell'Arte makes you better. Oh, I could hear myself for a minute. How Commedia dell'Arte makes you better at all kinds of acting, you know, all genres. So that was, yeah, it was just by total happenstance that I studied Commedia.
Francesca.
It's very similar. My university gave me a grant to study something, which is amazing, right? And so I said, I want to study Commedia. It was handed to me by Elizabeth Wiley, who is my professor from the College of William and Mary. Hi, Liz. And she was like, you should do this. And I studied Commedia, and I particularly focused on Arlecchino and how sort of this spirit is present in our modern political satire. Sort of that idea of the jester, right? It's more jester world. And I studied Commedia for 1 month with Michele Bottini and fell in love with it, and immediately applied to be the second class of their grad program. And I had the same sort of revolution or revelation where we are sort of stuck in America in this sort of intellectual, emotional approach. And it never felt good. It never felt right. I never felt super comfortable. And moving around felt so much better, and approaching it more pragmatically, with rules and structure felt so much better. And I never want to work any other way, but both ways need to work together, right?
Yeah. In fact, I was saying to Chiara that we interviewed many guests around the world, many actors and company struggling, or I mean the missing shows, but we learned that how we met each other, it was, I mean, the meeting was always spontaneous. It happened to me and Chiara, you know, when we met, and I was doing physical theater in Italy, and we never met in Florence, right, Chiara? So I never did Commedia dell'Arte, so I learned a lot from Chiara, and thank you, Chiara.
Yes, you're welcome. No, this is a funny anecdote, but I saw Emanuele doing a very short pulcinella for a concert of some friends, and I couldn't understand a thing of what he was saying, but physically I could see that there was something there, that he could have been, a little bit.
Because you are not fluent in Neapolitan.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. That's true. So, I'm from Florence, and Emanuele lived in Florence for many years, but we never met there. And we met in Boston at this concert. And then I asked him, let's do Commedia dell'Arte together. And so, so how did you guys met at dell'Arte, all'Accademia dell'Arte?
Yeah.
No?
No,
in Washington?
We missed each other by 4 months.
Oh.
So we're the same age, but we missed each other by 4 months. And we met in Washington, D.C., I think very casually, like you meet other artists in the city, and then got to know each other really well doing the Cherry Orchard with Faction of Fools.
Yep.
3 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
4 years ago?
Yeah.
2018.
Okay.
What is it now? 2032?
2020, yeah. And Chiara, you visited some space of the Faction of Fools, right?
Yes. So this is another anecdote. Sorry about that. But about, I would say, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I happened to be in Washington, D.C., and I decided, because I think that Matthew Wilson and I became friends on Facebook. And so I realized that he was in DC, and I contacted him and I said, hey, listen, I'm here. I can come and visit you. And so he invited me at the place where you guys are, or where, that is the Gallaudet University. That is a university for deaf and hard of hearing students. And I was impressed because, first of all, this partnership between a Commedia dell'Arte and physical theater company and a university that, is for deaf and hard of hearing, I thought it was very smart and fascinating. I mean, I imagine all the connection, the language, the physicality that you, along with the students and probably teachers, maybe developed. Plus, I got to know your ex-artistic director, Matthew Wilson. Ciao, Matthew. That is now, I think, somewhere else. He's teaching somewhere else, if I'm not wrong. And it was a beautiful, beautiful meeting. He showed me all the masks, and I met some of your other company members. So what I want to understand is how the artistic direction passed from Matt to you guys. How did it happen? Where is he now? And all of this. And before you start, I want to say hello to Daniela Roma, that always watches us. She's an amazing pianist. Amazing.
Ooh.
Yeah. She's in Rhode Island. Amazing pianist. And then Petronella, ciao. And Barbara Papendorp, that you might know.
Oh, Barb. Hello, Barb.
So tell us a little bit about this co-directing the company.
So in 2015, back up, we did a production of Our Town, and right when that ended, which Matt directed, and it was incredible, really incredible. You'll hear me bring it up here and there when we talk about a lot of the things the company does. But at 2015, Matt and his amazing wife, Sarah, both got positions at the University of Mississippi. So in 2015, Matt and Sarah moved down to Mississippi. And then a wonderful, amazing man named Toby Mulford became artistic director of Faction of Fools for a year. And then him and his wife started have a clowning duo named Dr. Doer and Peach, which is very fun. So then they focused on that. And then we had our past artistic director, Paul Reisman, who's been the artistic director the past 3 years, I say 3 seasons. So then that is who we've succeeded from, or not seceded, that's like the Confederacy. Okay, that's who we are following, is Paul.
Right.
Now, but through life, Matt Wilson and Sarah, his amazing wife, are now back in Washington, D.C., teaching at George Washington University. And Franny, do you remember where Sarah teaches? It's Northern Virginia Community College.
Oh,
I'm so sorry, Sarah. I needed to look that up ahead of time. But she's a professor. They're both doctors, and so they both teach. So they moved back maybe about a year ago.
Okay.
So then now, when now that we are co-artistic directors, we asked Matt and Sarah if they would be on our board, because they've been so supportive and helpful, and they just want to be involved and want to help, but are ready to pass it on to the next generation.
That's awesome. And by the way, now I just remember that my musician, the musician I work with very often, Dan Myers, he did a show with Matthew Wilson, I think, at the Folger Library, if I'm not mistaken, and they got to know each other.
Does he play for the Folger Consort?
Every now and then he gets hired.
sure. We've probably passed each other.
For sure, for sure.
The production.
He's a Renaissance multi-instrumentalist.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. Ciao, Dan. I miss you.
The instruments in that show, it was called The Second Shepherd's Play.
Yeah, that's what he did.
The instruments were incredible.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
He was there. Yeah, he performs with me, and most of all, we teach in schools together, he and I. And I want to say hello to Italy Echo and Viviana Dragani, who is the presenter of Italy Echo, because Italy Echo is a wonderful Italian radio program. They do, yeah, here it's based in Boston, but she's amazing. She interviews a lot of people, and also she sends a lot of Italian pop music. So for us, Italian is a lot of fun. So ciao Viviana, grazie. Emanuele, next question.
Maybe Francesca has.
Francesca wanted to say something.
I can pick up where Kathryn left off about the idea of co-artistic directors. It is obviously a lot of work to be an artistic director, and Kathryn and I were already on staff. I used to run education, and Kathryn used to run marketing. And we had this conversation of we can't do this without the other. And it became very clear that we love each other as friends, and we love each other as colleagues, and that the relationship could withstand, right, not only the stress of running a theater company, but it could make it easier. So we began with that, and then we went to our company members and asked them to become more involved, to look at the idea of like the capo of a traditional theater company, and the idea that we are an ensemble, and everyone gets a little bit of executive power, right, and everyone gets say together, and to create a more collaborative situation. And so we created what we call executive fools, which sounds very important and silly, but it's essentially a group of company members who can give of themselves whatever skills they have to the company, and in that way they also get to share in the work as well as the arts, and they can help form the trajectory of the company. So it's not just Kathryn and I.
Yeah.
Good for you. Very lucky to have all these collaborators.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. On your website, I wanted to ask you something very.
And here is their website, by the way. Visit it.
Factionoffools.org. You stated an interesting chiasmus. Like
chiasmo. Now Dr. Balanzone wants to do the literary professor. Che cavolo è sto chiasmo? What is it?
I will explain you the chiasmus. It's a figure of speech. Comedy doesn't negate tragedy, but you also take comedy seriously. Kathryn, spiega il chiasmo a Chiara.
So we'll start with comedy does not negate tragedy.
Yeah.
That with a lot of these productions that we choose, our goal is not to erase the sincerity or to erase the tragedy, but rather to heighten both, to make both things powerful, and using Commedia dell'Arte as a lens to learn new things. So saying that we're not here to cover up things, serious topics. We're not here to make sad things funny, but we're here to show that
the balance. Yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, may I mention some of the company's works? Yeah. For example, I noticed, even when I came to visit you a few years ago, I was at the time, I was more of a Commedia dell'Arte practitioner that, improvises Canovacci, Emanuele and I and Maya, our other co-founder. We improvised all the time. We based our things on funny situations, right? So I have to say that I was pleasantly impressed by these shows of yours that take after some of the super classical plays. For example, Henry V, The Cherry Orchard, The Merchant of Venice, Pinocchio, which, by the way, I later did also, Titus Andronicus. So some are really, goresome, goreful, tragedy. So explain us a little bit the process of doing it and why. What is that you like in transforming, a very classical play in a Commedia dell'Arte show?
Sure. So, of course, in Shakespeare and Commedia, it's quite easy to find the parallel. True. So even when you find these characters in very dramatic situations, there's still the archetype or the social type. There are also many dramatic original Commedia dell'Arte Canovacci, so we don't want to lose that element of the style. And like Kathryn said, a lot of it is not covering up, is not putting on top the style. It's about using the style to light from within, right? The characters and the drama and the situations, and taking, right, looking at a dramatic piece. What is it to elevate it, right, to the volume of Commedia dell'Arte without losing the seed of the emotion, right? It's about making the emotions bigger, not hiding the emotions. And then for comedy, it's about looking for those lazzi. It's about looking for those situations with those little sparks that maybe a normal, more straightforward production would pass over or make the joke and move on. We can be like, no, this moment could be 8 minutes of comedy instead of 30 seconds. So that's sort of the approach, and having the darkness and light together is very important to us as well, because how can you have one without the other?
Yeah. Speaking of emotion, you both, Kathryn worked in the past with with kids, and Francesca, you teach clownery and commedia, maybe, and theater in high school. How is working with teenager, and how was working with kids?
Well, I know for the little ones, like with preschool ages 2 to 5, I make a very bad joke about how they have a limited verbal filtration system. So it kept, even though it could definitely be challenging. So I'm not saying that it was all easy, but that I was just always inspired with the amount of play and fearless creativity, and how they would always, something didn't work, I'll try something else. They're always moving, and they don't care if it looks good or is right or wrong. They really just love to have fun, and they're good inspirations for us, because I think we all take ourselves too seriously. So it's a good reminder that, we really are here to play. even sometimes we just fake it till we make it.
Yeah.
So they always inspired me, those little babies.
Francesca?
Yes, so I teach for a performing and visual arts program in Annapolis, Maryland. It's a very beautiful program built on the ethos of the actor-creator, right? So we're not constantly doing plays by other people. We're creating our own work. And I teach Commedia and clown and devising with them. And I've also experimented with teaching Commedia and clown to kids young as 8 or 9. And obviously, there's this interesting pullback from the idea of clown, right? Because clown is presented to children these days as very scary. But they're obviously very good at it and they don't even know. And they obviously love them and they don't even know. Bringing Commedia has been obviously very soulful for me as a lover of Commedia, but also to watch them learn a little bit of the history and take it in and be like, whoa, too much history. I'm not interested in all this pedagogy. But then realizing that they can make their own Commedia. So making Shinari where like it's two women lovers and they meet on Instagram direct message and one of them takes pictures of her toes because she's a nail stylist. It's all incredible and beautiful. And I always ask the question, like, do you want to do a traditional scenario or do you want to make your own? And they always say, we're going to make our own. And they leave me alone and they work for 10 minutes and then it's beautiful. So yeah, for me, it's about teaching the pedagogy and teaching the structure and then asking them what they want to put into it, which is especially, I think, important for younger actors. Right, to feel like they have to be something to do Commedia, but just to go against that idea of volume and that idea of character and that idea of timing, and how it makes it all so much more accessible and more fun, obviously.
Good. Before Cara will show us a couple of pictures in the video, I want to ask you a very quick question. With the core of our shows, and at the 16th episode, the last episode, we have to ask you again, what did you do during the lockdown? But before that, tell us more about your company, about your members. What do you usually do, and what is your typical work when things are normal?
So first, when things are normal, and then what did you do during lockdown?
So normally we've operated kind of like a regular theater company, maybe about 2 shows a season with maybe a workshop or some kind of, we call it the Fool for All, like a little play in a day or some kind of event like that. But it's been, Francesca and I were talking yesterday that it's been, well, quarantine is not helpful, but it's been a good time to reflect on, is that something we need to continue doing? Do we need to put ourselves into that usual mold, or maybe we change it up a little bit and we can have the flexibility to do so? So go ahead, Franny.
Yeah.
Sure.
Lockdown?
Lockdown. So we actually became co-artistic directors during lockdown. So we ironically had lots of free time to do the sort of administration things for the transition, and sort of retreat isn't the right word, but the idea of taking the time, like Kathryn said, and evaluating what is our mission, how is it changing, and the way that the world is changing, right? There's calls for changing the theater schedule to be more humane and more accessible to all people of different financial backgrounds, and also to, for example, like mothers and fathers, and to really reevaluate what our mission is, the populations we want to reach, school programs, and by not being so busy running that theater company, we've been able to reflect and to plan for the future. I've been writing a lot of grants and changing. I was talking to Kathryn, we have to write a new budget, right? Because every couple months, the whole situation changes all over again. And we've also been having lots of beautiful Zoom meetings with our executive fools, right? So it's not just us making the decisions, it's us sort of doing day to day and then bringing the group in. We are in fact about to plan one where we talk about what the new research coming out about when theater will open. To move my things around. And what does that look like? What do we feel comfortable with? Discussing the idea of an outdoor show, but that we want it to be a group effort because more brains on this is better than two.
Good.
Yeah. So you guys, you did quite a few and very lovely videos on Zoom that you guys have on your YouTube channel. Here's a couple of screenshots where this is the two of you, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And Matthew Wilson, that he's doing an amazing dottore, Emanuele, amazing dottore.
Yeah.
So, and here is another screenshot that is really, really nice with about coffee. But now I would like to show.
I'm sorry. The second, mostra quella foto. L'attrice era Rachel
Mulford.
And the mask is made by Antonio Fava.
Antonio Fava masks. Yeah, mask. Yeah. So for our audience, you can go on their YouTube channel, Factional Foods Theater Company, and you can watch all the videos. But now I'm gonna play the entire video that is Wake Up Zanni. Pronti?
Pronti a svegliare. Hey! And thank you all the members of the Foolish Fridays. I mean, the Foolish Fridays project is fantastic because I loved the passing the torch game, which at the beginning was the pillow, and then it became the dog, and then the feather.
Yeah, no, fabulous, fabulous. This is a really, really good video. And yeah, we can see all of your company members, right? Yeah, and please say it again.
No, I was just going to say there are, of course, a couple other folks who are in the company that didn't participate in that one, but yes, it was a big chunk.
Okay.
Beautiful. Did it take you quite a while to rehearse it and, experimenting up before getting to that result? I'm asking because Emanuele and I did a short lazzo on Zoom for kids as Arlecchino and Pulcinella, that are our typical characters. And it took us a lot of time and mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? So tell us just quickly, how did it go, the planning this good result?
Go ahead, Franny.
Oh, sure. So yes, of course, the seed is this idea of the passing or the throwing. So what was nice about it is that everyone had their own part and sort of communicating with the people. So, for example, the dog, right? The dog is in 2 shots of company members who are neighbors. So they could very easily walk across the street.
I was wondering, how did you get the dog?
They could talk to each other and have that fun without us having to get in the way of that. And so, so it did go through drafts. Like, how much did we want? Do we want the pillow to change? The pillow, should it be different colors or the same color? I always was nervous about throwing the pillow at the camera, so I had to do it multiple times. But what's lovely is Daniel Cackley, who is our associate artistic director, sort of took this on as his project. And so he put together sort of the treatment for what the video was. And then he was the one who edited everything together so beautifully to make it look very nice and even, right? But of course, that's a lot of work and sort of connecting it to the song as well. So we have some rhythm changes because it is our longest video because we wanted to make sure that everybody was in there. But yes, it was certainly a lot of sending videos in. Is this all right? Okay, change this one thing. And even, for example, the Puccinella is actually my husband who drank the 3 cups of coffee. So that easily, right, takes 40 minutes to sort of what is the timing of that and where are the looks and where is the camera, right? Because we sort of got like a phone here. So it's all very handmade, right?
So this is a classic example, my friends who are watching us, of Commedia in Quarantena, right? A classic, super classic example. Now, Emanuele, do you have another question?
No, I want to say hi to Jay Cross.
Ciao, Jay.
Yeah, he's commenting on Facebook Live. I loved the wake up video. Yeah, Jay Cross from I Sebastiani. And Ben Lauer. Hello, Ben.
Ben is in the video.
Oh,
okay. And Giovanni says the performance was absolutely fantastic. Bravissimi. Thanks to Pazzi Lazzi for bringing these masterpieces to us. Well, we are very happy to be able to kind of promote and show other companies' work in these difficult times.
No, it's beautiful. Yes.
Okay.
You used another last question. You use different mask makers. Who makes your mask?
Sure. So we do have a couple examples to show you if you're ready.
Yeah.
So this.
Yeah, but can I ask you first? Sorry to interrupt the whole thing. Do you have any upcoming projects, like other upcoming videos or outdoor shows? What are you gonna do next?
So we're learning to be flexible and kind of getting back to the roots of Commedia, right? Just like, well, if we got to put a show in a backyard, that's what we'll do.
Yeah.
But we've really loved doing Foolish Fridays, and I believe it's energizing our company members and our executive fools. So like Franny mentioned a while ago, looking into the next digital content, because it's looking just based on some of the experts, like infectious disease experts, that in person, indoors will still take quite some time to happen. So looking at some other kind of digital content, maybe some season 2 of Foolish Fridays, but making it a more of a cohesive thing. And then maybe some kind of outdoor production later. So we're...
Yeah, we are all on the same boat.
Right.
So let's go back to the masks.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about your masks.
So this first one is by Aaron Cromie. This is the Arlecchino I'll wear later. And he's actually based in Washington, D.C., as is, I think, all of the masks I have right now. And this is a beautiful...
Oh,
yes,
I love it.
Pantalone.
Dropping all my masks. By Tara Cariaso of Waxing Moon Masks. She's based in Baltimore, Maryland. And one of my very favorites of hers is this beautiful Dottore.
Nice. Yeah, just.
And then the mask that I have. So one thing that's special about us.
Okay, let's switch.
Sorry.
Yes, you can show us your masks.
We don't have just one stock group of masks we use all the time. We'll craft to the individual production. So sometimes we'll have masks made for a production, or we'll use what we have in stock and maybe repaint some. Like we did one with a cow. There was a Zani cow. So Toby Mulford repainted the mask to be like a little Arlecchino cow. And then this mask that I have, we made a whole set of very colorful masks for our town. And this was, her name's Sarah Conti. She's a longtime company member. And this was her first time making masks. So it's special. Usually you don't see a bright orange mask.
Yeah.
So it's not traditional, but it's fun that we allow room for artists to experiment and check things out. So here's my little Zani.
Bel colpo di maschera, sì.
Bellissimo. Yeah. Nice work to be the first time.
Yes.
If you consider it was the first time. Wow.
And this was the mask she had made for me, so it fits like a glove. Right on.
Yeah.
Benissimo.
Okay,
grazie.
Grazie. Beautiful masks. Thank you so much. So, are we ready to do our last final lazzo? First, our guests will go, and then Emanuele and I will join and we'll close. Quindi, grazie a tutti. Thank you so much, my friends. It was fantastic to meet you.
Wonderful. Really special.
And so let's begin with surprise me with your mask. Sorprendimi con la tua maschera.
Vediamo chi c'è all'ultimo episodio della Commedia in quarantena. La Commedia in quarantena che ora è viva.
Abbiamo appurato che sia viva, vero?
Here.
Evviva, evviva, and I want to see them. Ciao.
Ciao. Oh, okay. Zani, Franny, we need to make a fundraiser.
I have an idea. Let's get a trampoline, and then we're jumping and we're jumping and we're inviting other people to jump with us, and we're jumping and we're having fun and we're raising the fun higher.
Oh, wait, no. Zani, Franny, no. It's not a fundraiser. We need a fundraiser. Okay, no. Oh, but trampolines are fun. Oh, we can do that. Okay, perfect. How much would we charge for tickets for our trampoline?
Tickets, a carnival. Let's have a carnival. We can have food stalls and rides. Oh, and hot dogs and hamburgers and cotton candy and funnel cakes. You know where you take the dough and you go, and then you drop it in the hot oil and it goes, you take it out and it's all glistening and you put the powdered sugar on it.
I can taste it now, Zani, Franny. Oh, how much would we charge for one of your famous funnel cakes?
Oh, charge? It's free. It's fun.
What? Fun isn't free, Zani, Franny. People pay for all of those funnel cakes and rides and funfetti and confetti and cotton candy. We need to raise money for our theater company.
You need to make money?
Well, we could make something for money.
Could we make fun for money?
Yeah! Raise some fun to raise some funds. Ha-ha!
I could grant that.
Oh. Okay, well, that's all we've got for today.
Just for us too.
Thank you, Faction of Fools. Thank you for the last episode.
Thank you, Faction of Fools. Come back soon. Ciao.
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 Ciao. Oh,
Chiara, I want to thank you for the last episode of La Commedia in Quarantena. Because
sì, ma ti piace di più così o così? Che dici?
Così è migliore, così perché
Così è migliore, sì.
perché io con La Commedia in Quarantena continuo a mangiare.
Yeah, but listen, Pulcinella, listen.
Sì.
What did you learn to do during all this time of lockdown and quarantine? I want to know.
Can't you see?
What is that?
I learned how to do madre jest, lievito madre. Yeah.
A cosa serve? What is it for?
Serve a fare la pizza, ma fare la pizza che la pumarola in coppa,
Gnam.
Quindi ho imparato questo. E tu cosa hai imparato? What did you learn during the quarantine?
Ho imparato a zoomare. I learned how to zoom. Zoom in, zoom out. 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 Zoom it back. Io, Pulcinella, stai attento.
Ma io voglio salutarvi mangiando perché io mangiare a vita mia.
Sì, but I have such a headache with all this zoomare, with all this zoom, such a headache with all this hashtag che tengo io.
Go make theater on the streets. Yeah.
Sì, basta con questa quarantena. That's it with all this quarantine. Basta. Andiamo nelle strade, in the piazze, in the streets, in the States, in Italy.
Yeah, around the world, on the table and eating. Ciao.
Come ciao? Vieni con me. Come with me.
Già mangià. Tengo fame. Ciao.
Arrivederci a tutti. Goodbye everybody. Thank you so much for watching La Commedia in Quarantena. Emanuele, dove stai? Dai l'ultimo saluto. Sta ancora a mangiare. He's still eating, quello lì. Ma sei scandaloso. Come out. Oh, e basta con questo lievito madre.
Sto mangiando. Ciao a tutti e grazie a tutti i commedianti di tutto il mondo. Io continuo a mangiare perché sperando che non ci sia veramente un'altra quarantena. Un ultimo saluto in italiano perché grazie Chiara. Devo ringraziare Chiara per aver messo su tutto questo ambaradan, come dicono quelli che sanno parlare bene, di grandi attori, attrici e compagnie in tutto il mondo.
With your help, col tuo aiuto. And I have to say, I also want to thank Emanuele, because Emanuele was the first one to have this idea of going live. And from that time, we just did it for fun at the beginning, and then it became a wonderful, wonderful project. Today is the last episode, but we don't know what the future holds, because, you know, we are already thinking to do the best of. Sì. So be ready, ok?
Posso continuare a mangiare il mio lievito madre?
Ma poi ti gonfia la pancia. Arrivederci.
Ciao.
Ciao.